Welcome, fellow bookworms, to Briz Den. My name is Whitney, and today I have a haul. So these are all the books I've gotten in this first third of the year. It's the beginning of April when I'm filming this. You'll see this at the end of April, of course, but I'm not planning on picking anything else up in April. I did end up going to the 2 thrift stores in our little town yesterday and got a huge stack of books. The rest of the year, I haven't picked up too much, but I did get, like I said, a big stack. But I went for only $8.20 between the 2 stores, so that's always a fantastic deal. I think I picked up 38 books total for $8.20. So really, really happy with some of the ones I found. Well, all of the ones I found, but obviously some I'm more interested in than others. And yeah, I'm just gonna go through everything I've gotten. There's 4 books that I haven't received yet. 3 of them are supposed to arrive today. I got those from Pango, and then 1 was a Goodreads giveaway. So who knows when it's gonna arrive. It does say it shipped back at the end of March. And so hopefully it should be here soon. We're about a week into April, but we shall just have to wait and see. But I thought I would include it anyway since I did win it, and it should be coming. And so yeah, let's go ahead. We'll start with January and work our way to now. So in January, I got 1 book, and it was actually a Goodreads giveaway. And so that was A Love Song for Ricki Wilde by Tia Williams. I have already read this, and I gave it 4 stars. It would have been 5 stars, but again, pet peeve of mine. I know I mentioned it a lot lately. I don't like pop culture references. In this case, it was cleverly done for the most part, and really kind of fit with the story, but it did get a little bit too much. But still really, really enjoyed it. So basically, you have Ricki, and her family has like a big corporation of funeral homes, and are kind of like socialites and such, and she just really doesn't fit in. And so she decides she wants to open a flower shop, and she gets this opportunity to go to Harlem and do that. And so that's what she does. And there is like a found grandmother aspect, which I always love generational friendships. That is something that I just absolutely adore in books. So I really enjoyed that aspect. And then she does meet a guy, but he has a secret and a reason why they can't be together. Um, and yeah, I really liked it. It kind of has dual timelines, so it deals with like the Harlem Renaissance and such, which is really cool, like Jazz Age and everything, which I really enjoyed that aspect of it. So overall, a really solid book, and I think if you don't mind pop culture references, you would probably enjoy this more so than I did. But even like I said, the pop culture, they were clever at some points. They really fit, like with the Harlem Renaissance and such. Some of those really fit. And there was one that made me laugh out loud. It had to deal with, they were talking about Beyonce and Rihanna, and then the older lady was wanting to join in, but she didn't really know what they were talking about, and she thought they said Tiana, like the Disney princess. And so that definitely got a chuckle out of me. But yeah, definitely a solid book worth picking up. It deals with leap year, which I know we're past February now, but that's kind of a fun element to it as well, a little bit whimsical. Then in February, I also got 1 book, and this was actually a gift. And this was from Marianna, and this is This Dark Descent by Kalyn Josephson. This is from my wish list and something I'm very, very interested in. I'm actually going to be reading it this month, so I should have already read it by the time you're seeing this video. But yeah, I'm super excited for this because it deals with like horse races and competitions and such, but it's kind of magical as well, like fantasy. So it says the Russell family is famous throughout Enderlane as breeders of enchanted horses, but their prestige is no match for their rising debts. To save her family's ranch, Mercuria Russell is left with only one option: enter the Illinois, a treacherous cross-country horse race, known as much for its high body count as its enticing prize money. To have any chance of success, Makira will have to recruit Ariel Kadar, a talented but unlicensed enchanter who creates golems in place of enchanted animals, and Damien Adair, a dashing young lord in the midst of a fierce succession battle. Both have mysterious reasons of their own to help Makira, as well as their own blood feuds to avenge. So I can't wait to read this. I know I'm gonna absolutely adore it. So that was February, and then in March I got 4 books. And so 2 of these books were for things I was participating in, and I got them from thrift books, and it was either pay shipping or get another book for around the same price and not pay shipping. So of course I got another book. So that's the third book, and then the other one is a souvenir from the Vegas trip. So the first one is A Pinch of Magic by Michelle Harrison, and this was the Stop and Start Buddy Read pick for Allison on a Book Break Stop and Start Buddy Read. Channel will be, of course, linked down below. And again, already read this, gave it 5 stars. I absolutely adored this. So you have the 3 sisters, and the narrative is told from Betty's point of view. And then you have Charlie, who's very quirky, and then Fliss. And so basically, they're cursed and they're stuck on this island of Crowstone, and they have to figure out how to break the curse. Essentially, there's a prison. They're raised by their grandmother, so again, you kind of have that generational aspect. And there's magical objects, and so yeah, it's just them trying to figure out this curse and trying to break it. There is a young boy that ends up getting pulled in as well, so he's part of the story as well. And I just thought this was really well written. Like when she would mention something, it tied back in later on. Even if it seemed kind of insignificant, it really all tied together, and it was cleverly done, and it really worked well together, and it was well written and fun. Fast paced, the pace was really kept up. And yeah, I absolutely love this. This is a series. This is the first one in the series, so I definitely plan on continuing on with the series. But there's that one, and I think these were all. I think this one was like 7 and some change, so about $8, and then the other 2 were. Well, actually, I can tell you. I write it down um, normally. So let's see here. Okay, so that one was almost $5, and then the next one was 7 and some change, and then the other one was $4 and some change. So this one was almost $8, and that's Homegoing by Gyasi. And this one was the group read for Team B for Kim from Tales from Two Trails. Her channel's Expedition Through Pages. The game is Tales from Two Trails. And I'm on Team B, and so this was a group read choice. And another one I gave 5 stars to. Again, Kim's channel will be linked down below, of course. And yeah, this one you have 2 sisters who don't know about each other. They're in different villages in Africa. One ends up marrying an English captain, and the other one on a raid gets taken and sold into slavery and ends up in America. And each chapter you're following the next generation, and it's going back and forth between the 2 lines. And it deals obviously with the slave trade, and you're getting the 2 perspectives from the family in America that were sold into slavery, and then the family in Africa, and kind of their participation in the slave trade. And yeah, I just really liked how it was formatted. Um, I thought it was really well done and just enjoyed it overall. It is heavier, so I did have to kind of take it a little bit slow because it was heavier, but it definitely drew me in and I was wanting more. So that got 5 stars for me as well. And then the book that I got, like I said, to get free shipping was the Clifford collection by Norman Bridwell. This is the original 6 stories. So it has Clifford the Big Red Dog, Clifford at the Circus, Clifford Gets a Job, Clifford Takes a Trip, Clifford's Good Deeds, and Clifford's Tricks. I had 2 of the stories, but none of the rest of them. So now I have them just in this bind up, which I'm really, really happy about. I've been collecting the Clifford books because I absolutely adored these as a kid. Like, they were some of my favorites. So I've been collecting them now as an adult. And so now I have these 6, which is great, which you don't know about Clifford, he is a big red dog, obviously. Emily Elizabeth gets him. He's like kind of the tiniest little puppy, and then he just keeps growing and growing and growing. And I just absolutely adore the book. So that was an easy choice to get the free shipping for sure. Then, excuse me, the last one I got in March was from my Vegas trip, and I knew I wanted a book as a souvenir, and I knew I wanted this specific book because it kind of went with the Vegas theme. Even though in this book they're actually going to Atlantic City, and that is Finlay Donovan Rolls the Dice by El Casamano. And so the Finlay Donovan series is really a lot of fun. I don't like cozy mysteries, and I love this one. It really works. And so basically, you have Finlay Donovan, who is a single mother struggling. She's struggling with her ex and everything, and she's a struggling writer. And she's with her agent or editor or somebody at a Panera in the first book, and she's talking to her about the plot of her book. And somebody overhears her and thinks she's a killer for hire and slips her a note. And it just kind of leads from there. And then she kind of gets just drawn into this world. There's like a mob aspect and everything. And so she just gets drawn in, and each book is just continuing on. And then this one, like I said, they're headed to Atlantic City. So I'm really excited to read this one. I can't wait for it. I'm not sure when I'll get to that one. I do have a mood read for May, so that might be one I pick up, or this next book might be one because I'm really excited about this too, and especially off of just reading like Ricki Wilde and such. I think this would be a good one. So this was also a gift. Michelle from Reading on My Breaks sent it to me. I commented that that would be one I was interested in, and they're like, I'll send it to you after I'm done. And they did, and I can't wait to read this one. And then also a little surprise book sleeve, which is beautiful. I love the pattern on this. I have that as well. And this is A Wild Woman in the Blues by Denny S. Bryce. And again, you're kind of dealing 1920s. And so it says 1925 Chicago is the jazz capital of the world, and the Dreamland Cafe excuse me, got frogs in my throat today. And the Dreamland Cafe is the ritziest black and tan club in town. Honoree Dalcour is a sharecropper's daughter willing to work hard and dance every night on her way to the top. Dreamland offers a path to the good life, socializing with celebrities like Louis Armstrong and filmmaker Oscar Micheaux. But Chicago is also awash in bootleg whiskey, gambling, and gangsters. And a young woman driven by ambition might risk more than she can stand to lose. Then it jumps forward to 2015. Film student Sawyer Hayes arrives at the bedside of 110-year-old Honoree Delacour. Still reeling from a devastating loss that has taken him right to the brink, Sawyer has rested all his hope on this frail but formidable woman, the only living link to the legendary Oscar Micheaux. If he is right, if she can fill in the blanks in his research, perhaps he can complete his thesis and begin a new chapter in his life. But the links Honoree makes are not the ones he's expecting. So, yeah, this one might be the mood read for May. I'll just have to see what I'm feeling. That's what a mood read is. So there is that. And so that's the first book for April. And then I'll go ahead and talk about the ones that are still coming. So I have been low-key participating in Buzzword this year. I haven't really been mentioning it, but so far a book that's been on my TBR has worked. In this case for May, it's the prompt is every, a book with every in the title. And I didn't have anything for that. And so I was like, I might just skip May, but I decided to go ahead and look and see what was available that I might be interested in. And there has been a series that I've been very, very interested in, and the first book works for the prompt. So I decided to go ahead and get it. I went on Pango. The seller was doing free shipping for books over for purchases over $15. So I went ahead and got 2 other books to meet that requirement. So the first book I got that's going to work for Buzzword in May, so I will be reading it in May, is Every Heart a Doorway by Shauna McGuire. This is the first book in the Wayward Children series. And yeah, I've been really interested in the series for a very, very long time. It's been on my wish list for a long time, And so since it worked, I was like, perfect. And I got it on Pango for fairly cheap. I think it was like $6 or something like that. And so yeah, I'll be reading that. And if you're not familiar with the Wayward Children series, it's basically about these children who go through like portals to other worlds, and then when they come back, like kind of what do they do? And so it's about these children that have gone to other worlds and now are back, and you know, can't really return to normal life. Like I said, I've been very, very interested in it for a long time, so I'm excited to read that. Then I was kind of looking through what else they had, and they had Mexican Gothic by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. And this is an author I've been interested in trying, and this is probably one of the books I'm most interested in by that author. And so when I saw it, I was like, perfect. It was also $6. And so I picked it up. And yeah, I'm really, really excited for this one. And hopefully I can get it sooner rather than later. And so this one, I can't fully remember what it's about, but basically I think she gets a letter from her newly married cousin that she needs help, and so she goes to this house her cousin's living in, but there's kind of something more sinister going on with the house, and then I think they have a son, and there's something kind of going on with him, if I'm recalling right based on the little synopsis. So yeah, I'm really intrigued by this and I can't wait to read it. And the last one I got, I think it was $4, and it's Weird is Beautiful by Liz Marvin, and it's just about octopi and the weirdness of them. And so it was like I needed something to get that free shipping, and none of the other books the seller had was really interesting to me. And so even though this one wasn't on my radar, I mean, I love anything animal related, so I'm really excited to pick that up at some point. I'm not sure if it's nonfiction or not. I think it might be leaning towards nonfiction, but I'm not entirely sure. The synopsis is kind of a little bit weird, so we'll just have to see when I get to it. And then the last one is another Goodreads giveaway. Like I said, it's not here yet, and I don't know when it will be here. And that's The Ride of Her Life by Jennifer Dugan. And so this is a sapphic contemporary romance, and basically you have this wedding obsessed girl, and she ends up inheriting her, I think, great aunt's horse farm. And she's very much a city girl. She has struggles of her own, but she ends up going to this farm, and then the farrier spent the last days with her great aunt and then has been taking care of the horses. And I think it's like a grumpy sunshine. And so she has no clue what she's doing, and she's having to get this farrier to help her. And if you don't know what a farrier is, it's the people that do the horse's hooves. And so they trim them and then put shoes on and such. So that's what a farrier is. But yeah, I'm a horse girl, and so I'm really, really excited to read this whenever it may arrive. It says it can take up to 8 to 10 weeks, but like I said, it did ship at the end of March, so hopefully it will come. And now let's go ahead and get into these books in front of me. So like I said, there's 2 thrift stores in my town. First one is like a little church thrift store, and I found a lot of good books in the past there. And in this case, I was just kind of gonna stop in because I hadn't been there since last year, and went in. They were doing a deal. You got 4 books for $1 all across the board. Normally their hardbacks are $1. Their paperbacks are 50 cents, and then their children's books are 25 cents. So I didn't really save on any of the children's books I got, but I did save on the other books I got. So the first one I picked up, it looked funny, and I have been trying to add more sci-fi to my collection. And so that is Space Paw by Gordon R. Dixon. And yeah, I saw the cover and it looked funny. And then when they were doing the deal, it's like I was looking and just things that I knew I was interested in, I picked up, and then I added in other ones to make bundles of 4. And so yeah, this one says Project Space Paw was the interplanetary version of the Peace Corps, the perfect place for an ambitious young engineer like Bill Waltham to get experience teaching underdeveloped aliens how to do things Earth style. It was just Bill's luck to be posted to the remote backwater of Dilbia, where the natives were a cross between bears and Vikings. It was boring, sure, but it was the Earthman's burden. Except that the Dilbians had other ideas. They didn't want to learn Earth's ways, and they had a few things to teach Waltham. And so yeah, this I think was originally published in like the 60s or something. But it sounds kind of fun. And so yeah, it was originally published in 1969. This one was published in 1983 though, this edition. So we'll see when I pick it up how I get along with it, but I definitely need more sci-fi on my shelves, and this one just seemed funny to me. So we got that. Then this one is one I kind of passed by on my first round of looking at the books, but then when I was looking closer for something again to make a bundle, I think I was short 3 books. I saw this one, and this is definitely one that's interesting to me. I love water horror. So this is Below by Ryan Lockwood, and I love the cover. And it says, in all his years as a professional diver, Will Sturman has never encountered a killing machine more ferocious than the great white shark or as deadly as the piranha. Now off the coast of California, something is rising from the deep and multiplying, voracious, unstoppable, and migrating north, an ungodly life form trailed by a gruesome wake of corpses. With the help of the brilliant and beautiful oceanographer Valerie Martel, Will finds himself in a race against time to stop the slaughter by a predator capable of devastating the world's oceans. Um, so yeah, I can't wait. It looks like it might be octopi, so or octopus. I don't know, but I'm excited for it. Like I said, I've never really read water horror until this past year. And I've just barely dipped my toe into it, but I love watching water horror, and the couple books I've read that have been water horror I've really enjoyed. So hopefully I'll enjoy that one as well. This next one I pick up because I was watching Allison on a book break and she mentioned the series. And so when I saw it, I was like, yes, it is the 6th book in the series though. So I will need to get the previous books, the first 5, and that is the 39 Clues series by Jude Watson. This is book 6, In Too Deep. And yeah, it just sounds interesting. This one doesn't have the cards, but it normally comes with like some cards and such. And I think there's kind of like a game that goes along with it. This one says 14-year-old Amy Cahill and her younger brother Dan head to the land down under to discover what their own mother and father knew about the hunt for the 39 clues. But following in their parents' footsteps bring up lost memories for Amy so awful she can't share them, even with Dan. Haunted by the ghosts of their past, chased by deadly competitors, Dan and Amy can't see who is the enemy and who is a friend. Their blindness leads to a terrible mistake and the death of a hidden ally. So yeah, I'm very intrigued by the series. So I'll definitely be looking to get the first 5, probably from Pango, or Thriftbooks, one of the two. Then the next one I love collecting vintage children's like horse stories and dog stories or just vintage children's stories in general. So I picked up this very plain Jane book. The writing is fading on the spine. But this one is called Blackface Stallion by Helen Griffiths, and it's illustrated by Victor Ambrose. So you can see there. And yeah, I don't know what this is about because obviously there's no story, but it says, for my daughter Christina, who asked me for a horse story that was only about horses. So I think it's going to be pretty horse centered. The author's note said, in order to describe the life of a wild horse as accurately as possible, it was necessary for me to do quite a lot of research. So much written about wild horses is based on imagination rather than observation, that it isn't always easy to distinguish fact from fiction. Of the varied sources of information, one book in particular I felt it necessary to mention, as without it, I don't think Blackface's story could have been written at all. This is Mustangs, A Return to the Wild by Hope Ryden, published by Viking Press in 1972. And so this one was published in 1980. So, yeah. I definitely need to read some more of those. I read the ones I already had in my collection when I first started my channel, but I definitely collected some more vintage children's stories, so I definitely need to sit down and read some of them. Then we had The Sun is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. And so I love the cover of this one, and it definitely sounded interesting to me. Says Natasha, I'm a girl who believes in science and facts, not fate, not dreams that will never come true. I'm definitely not the kind of girl who meets a cute boy on a crowded New York City street and falls in love with him. Not when my family is 12 hours away from being deported to Jamaica. Falling in love with him won't be my story. Daniel, I've always been the good son, the good student, living up to my parents' high expectations. Never the poet or the dreamer. But something about Natasha makes me think that fate has something much more extraordinary in store for both of us. So, yeah, we got that one. Then we have some more popular authors. This next one, I watched the first season of the Netflix series, and never really been interested in reading the books or continue on with the series. We no longer have Netflix, but I decided to go ahead and pick this one up. I've normally seen like some of the later books in the series, but I picked up Bridgerton, The Duke and I by Julia Quinn. And yeah, I'm excited to give this one a try and see if maybe it's my cup of tea. I did enjoy the television series, like the Netflix series, but I just not enough that I was enticed to dive deeper back into it. So it says, in the ballrooms and drawing rooms of Regency London, rules abound. From the earliest days, children of aristocrats learn how to address an earl and curtsy before a prince. Like other dictates of the tongue are unspoken, yet universally understood. A proper duke should be imperious and aloof. A young marriageable lady should be amiable, but not too amiable. Daphne Bridgerton has always failed at the latter. The fourth of 8 siblings in her close-knit family, she has formed friendships with the most eligible young men in London. Everyone likes Daphne for her kindness and wit, but no one truly desires her. She is simply too deuced honest for that, too unwilling to play the romantic games that captivate gentlemen. Amiability is not a characteristic shared by Simon Basset, Duke of Hastings. Recently returned to England from abroad, he intends to shun both marriage and society, just as his callous father shunned Simon throughout his painful childhood. Yet an encounter with his best friend's sister offers another option. If Daphne agrees to fake a courtship, Simon can deter the mamas who parade their daughters before him. Daphne, meanwhile, will see her prospects and her reputation soar. So, there's that one. Then we have Frida McFadden, and this one is The Inmate. I do have The Maid. I have not read it yet. I know that's probably this author's most popular work, but this one seems more up my alley, honestly, and I'm excited to give it a try at some point. Since there are 3 rules that Brooke Sullivan must follow as new nurse practitioner at a men's maximum security prison. 1. Treat all prisoners with respect. 2. Never reveal any personal information. 3. Never, ever become too friendly with the inmates. But none of the staff at the prison knows Brooke has already broken the rules. Nobody knows about her intimate connection to Shane Nelson, one of the penitentiary's most notorious and dangerous inmates. And they certainly don't know that Shane was Brooke's high school sweetheart, the star quarterback who is now spending the rest of his life in prison for a series of grisly murders, or that Brooke's testimony was what put him there. But Shane knows, and he will never forget. So, that one sounds fun. Then this is an author that's very, very hyped. I haven't been interested in trying them at all. I did find one other book by them at a thrift store and picked it up a while back. And I saw this one. It's in perfect condition, like brand new condition. And I thought, you know what? Like 25 cents, I can't beat that. And so I picked up Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. Like I said, I am willing to give hyped authors a chance, but I'm just not very drawn to them because I think people hype them up way too much. And so it says, it's not exactly love at first sight for Tate Collins when she meets the tormented and secretive Miles Archer. They wouldn't even go so far as to consider themselves friends. The only thing Tate and Miles have in common is a mutual physical attraction that can't be denied. Once their desires are out in the open, they realize they might have stumbled on the perfect no-strings arrangement. He isn't looking for love, and she doesn't have time for it. So that just leaves the sex. What they've got could be surprisingly satisfying as long as Tate can stick to the 2 rules Miles has for her. Never ask about the past, don't expect a future. They think they can handle it, but everything is different when real emotions start to change the equation. So, we'll see how that goes. The only book that I'm actually interested in reading by Colleen Hoover is Verity. If I ever came across that, I would definitely pick that up. But like I said, I came across this one and one of her other works, and thrift store prices, like I said, this one is in perfect condition, so I can definitely send it on if I don't like it for some reason. Then this cover caught my attention. This is Sign of the, I'm gonna say, Chin, based on what I know of like pronunciation as such, but I'm probably not pronouncing that right, let's be honest. And this is by L.G. Bass, and it says, a volcanic eruption releases a vanguard of demons sealed away for centuries beneath the earth. Soon after, the Emperor's first son is born, marked with the sign of the Chin, the brand of the outlaw. Could the child be the new Star-Lord destined to restore justice to the land? The Emperor plots to kill his only heir before the boy can usurp his throne, but the assassin is foiled by a mysterious monk whose magical tattoos foretell the future and a trickster monkey who longs for immortality. A host of warring guardians must ultimately unite to help the Star-Lord unlock the kung fu secrets of the 12 Scrolls and save the Earth from destruction. But first, the prince must fulfill his destiny and join the twin leaders of the legendary outlaws of Moon Shadow Marsh in a war against the Lord of the Dead. The first in a trilogy, Sign of the Chin draws upon Chinese myth and legend in a tour de force of classic storytelling. So I love anything that deals with myth or lore, especially of different cultures and countries. So I'm really, really excited for this one. And then this next one is Nick Toches In the Hand of Dante. And I'm not entirely sure whether this is fiction or nonfiction. Based on the synopsis, I think it might be nonfiction. Let's see if it says in here at all. No, it's fictitious. Okay. So I got confused because it says the author is also a character, so that's what made me think maybe it was not. But it says, deep in the lowest reaches of the Vatican Library, a secret chamber is opened for the first time in centuries. Inside it is an object of inestimable value, the manuscript of the Divine Comedy written in Dante's own hand. The priest who finds this treasure spirits it away to his home in Sicily, where it comes into the grasp of more worldly parties. And so in New York, a few weeks later, a sometime writer, sometimes thief named Nick Toches, which, again, that's the author, so that's what made me confused, gets a phone call from a friend. There's an item he wants him to look at, a manuscript that needs authentication. Toches recognizes the pages for what they are and embarks on the most harrowing adventure of his life. As the story unfolds, so too does a parallel tale, the Odyssey 700 years ago of Dante himself, a man trying to weave out of the grossness of his own humanity a poem that contains the sum of the world's wisdom and the very breath of the divine. It is a struggle every bit as deadly as centuries later that between the individuals fighting to possess the manuscript. In the Hand of Dante is a work of an astounding is a work of astounding audacity and beauty, combining Nick Tosh's vast scholarship about the Middle Ages with intimate knowledge of the most degenerate lowlifes of New York's toughest street. Some readers may find this book offensive, others will declare it transcendent. It is certain to be one of the most talked about novels of the decade. Pretty sure this was written in like 2002. So yeah, I never heard of it, but I'm very intrigued. I read The Lost Book of Moses by Channing Tagay, I want to say. And it was about the Lost Sea Scrolls, and it was nonfiction, but it read like fiction, and I really, really enjoyed it. And this kind of gives me those similar vibes, so I'm really, really intrigued by this one. Then we have two. I'm not sure how many are in this series, but we have two, and that is Red Queen and Glass Sword by Victoria Aveyard. And yeah, I've seen this one around, and when I saw them, I was like, "Yep, I'll definitely pick those up." The funny thing about like popular books and such is I've noticed, and this kind of drives me a bit insane, which is why I try to always at least read the synopsis or tell you what the first book is about in a series, is that when a book is really popular, people just assume that you know what it's about and they don't tell you. So even though I've seen this book multiple times, I don't really know what it's about at all. So it says Mayor Barrow's world is divided by blood, those with red and those with silver. Mayor and her family are lowly reds, destined to serve the silver elite whose supernatural abilities make them nearly gods. Mayor steals what she can to help her family survive, but a twist of fate leads her to the royal palace itself, where in front of the king and all his nobles she discovers an ability she didn't know she had. Except her blood is red. To hide this impossibility, the king forces her into the role of a lost silver princess and betroths her to one of his own sons. As Mare is drawn further into the silver world, her actions put into motion a deadly and violent dance, pitting prince against prince and Mare against her own heart. From debut author Victoria Aveyard comes a lush, vivid fantasy series where loyalty and desire can tear you apart, and the only certainty is betrayal. So, yeah. So yeah, I'm excited for this. And then, like I said, I'm pretty sure this is the second one. Um, and so now I have those two. One's paperback, one's hardback, but that doesn't bother me. So yeah, I have those two now as well. Then this is a children's book, and this is The Birch Bark House by Louise Erdrich. So this seemed really interesting to me. I like Native American type books. And so it says Omakayas and her family live on the land her people call the island of the golden breasted woodpecker. Although the Chimuko man, white people, encroach more and more on their land, life continues much as it always has. Every summer they build a new birch bark house. Every fall they go to the ricing camp to harvest and feast. They move to cedar log houses before the first snows arrive and celebrate the end of the long cold winters at maple sugaring camp. In between, Omakayas fights with her annoying little brother Pinch, plays with the adorable baby Niwu, and tries to be a grown up like her big sister Angeline. But the satisfying rhythms of their life are shattered when a visitor comes to their lodge one winter night, bringing with him an invisible enemy that will change things forever, but that will eventually lead Omakayas to discover her calling. By turns moving and humorous, this novel is a breathtaking tour de force by a gifted writer. And I'm assuming I know what the invisible enemy is, but we will see if I'm right when I read it. And so yeah, I'm excited to have found that. This next one, I had all my stacks, and then I saw this one as I was kind of trying to organize them and carrying them up to the front. And so I ended up putting like this little romance back that I just grabbed because it sounded like it would be fun. But then I saw this one. I was like, yep, I'm getting this one. And so this is Molokai by Alan Brennert. I think that's how you say that, but again, I'm probably not correct. And so this one says Rachel Kalama, a spirited 7-year-old Hawaiian girl, dreams of visiting far off lands like her father, a merchant seaman. Then one day, a rose colored mark appears on her skin, and those dreams are stolen from her. Take her from her home and family, Rachel is sent to Kalopapa, the quarantine leprosy settlement on the island of Molokai. Here her life is supposed to end, but instead she discovers it's just beginning. Brimming with warmth, humor, compassion, and a vibrant cast of vividly realized characters, Molokai is a masterpiece of storytelling about a people who embrace life in the face of death. So yeah, I think this is going to be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to read it. Not fun, but impactful, like really well written, hopefully. And then this one has been at the thrift store for a long time. I've seen it, last year when I went many times, and I was always kind of intrigued by it, but never ended up picking it up. But it worked. So this one is The Courage Tree by Diane Chamberlain, and says it is every mother's nightmare, only worse. 8-year-old Sophie Donahue just wanted to be like every other little girl, which is why her mother Janine reluctantly agreed to let her go on a weekend camping trip with her brownie troop. But when Janine arrives to pick up Sophie after the trip, her daughter is not with the others. Somehow, along the forested route from West Virginia, Sophie has disappeared. But Sophie is no ordinary 8-year-old. She suffers from a rare disease, and Janine has recently enrolled her in an experimental treatment as a last effort to save her life, despite the vehement objections of her ex-husband Joe. Without her medication, Sophie cannot survive long. All her mother's instincts tell Janine that Sophie is alive, but time is running out. Deep in the Virginia forest, another drama unfolds. Sophie finds refuge in a remote cabin inhabited by Zoe, a woman who wants nothing to do with the child. Zoe is struggling to save her own daughter from the law, and Sophie's presence jeopardizes any chance of that happening. She is determined to save her daughter as Janine is to save Sophie, and only one of them can succeed. So, yeah, we'll see what happens in that one. And then the last one I got from that thrift store is the complete collection, volume 1 of Oz. So this has The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, The Marvelous Land of Oz, and Ozma of Oz. And I've never actually read the Wizard of Oz books, so when I saw this, even if I wasn't interested in reading this, I would have picked this up as just a collection. I like collecting certain books, and this would definitely be one that would fit that criteria. And so, of course, in The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, Dorothy and her dog Toto find themselves in a strange land. Here they meet the Munchkin and join the Scarecrow, the Tin Woodman, and the Cowardly Lion on an unforgettable journey to the Emerald City, where the all-powerful wizard lives. Can he help Dorothy return home? So, there we go. And so that's it from the little thrift, the little church thrift store, rather. And then the next thrift store, I got 22 books. So those all cost me $4. So 25 cents each. And then at this other thrift store, I got 22 books for $4.20. So at that thrift store, children books are 10 cents. Soft book back books, soft cover books are normally 25 cents, but if you get 5, you get them for $1, so you get them for 20 cents. And so I had 2 stacks of 5 in this case, so 10 of these were 20 cents, and then I had 2 extras, so they were 25 cents. And then hardcover, I think are normally 35 cents, I want to say, but I got 3 for $1, so I saved just a couple cents on those. But let's go ahead and dive in. So the first book, this author always makes me think of B at Mama Needs to Read Romance. Again, channel link down below. This is how I was introduced to this author. We did a buddy read of her contemporary series, but she's more known for her historical romances. And I found this one, When Strangers Marry by Lisa Kleypas. And I always have to look for a step back now because B loves her step backs. And yeah, this is a good one. And it's in really good shape. The spine is a little bit worn and broken, but otherwise it's in like perfect condition. And so this one says, Dear Reader, nearly a decade ago I published my first novel with Avon Books, Only in Your Arms. Since then, romance has changed and so have I. So I decided to give the book a makeover and a new title, When Strangers Marry. I have 2 reasons for changing the title. First, it is in keeping with the new spirit of the book. Second, no one, including my own mother, found the original one memorable. So in When Strangers Marry, I had a great time rediscovering the story of Maximilian Valoran and his stolen bride, Lisette. The promise of this handsome, though mysterious man's love proves irresistible to her, but she doesn't know the secrets he hides. I hope you will enjoy revisiting the Valoran family, or perhaps meeting them for the first time. And as always, thank you for your support and encouragement as we escape together in the magical world of romance novels. So, yeah, we got that one. And I'm excited to have it. I've only read the contemporary series that I did as buddy read with B. But I have a bunch of the other ones. It hasn't really worked out for me to pick them up. But I definitely need to try to prioritize them a little. The next book I found is The Secret Life of Bees by Sue Monk Kidd. I'm pretty sure there was a movie based on this with Dakota Fanning, if I want to say. I've seen the movie, but it's been ages and ages. But I am interested in reading the book because I remember really enjoying the movie. So, set in South Carolina in 1964, The Secret Life of Bees tells the story of Lily Owens, whose life has been shaped around the blurred memory of the afternoon her mother was killed. When Lily's fierce-hearted black stand-in mother, Rosaline, insults three of the deepest racists in town, Lily decides to bring them both free. They skip to Tiburon, South Carolina, a town that holds a secret to her mother's past. Taken in by an eccentric trio of black beekeeping sisters, Lily is introduced to their memorizing worlds of bees and honey and the Black Madonna. This is a remarkable novel about defying female power, a story that women will share and pass on to their daughters for years to come. So there's that one. And then, let's see here. Then we have another Netflix film adaptation, and I picked up Dumpling by Julie Murphy. I read one book by Julie Murphy, If the Shoe Fits, and I really enjoyed it overall. I did watch the film, and I also enjoyed it overall, so I thought, you know what, why not? It's in good shape. Again, a book that I could easily pass on. And so this one says, self-proclaimed fat girl Willowdean Dixon, dubbed Dumpling by her former beauty queen mom, has always been at home in her own skin. Her thoughts on having the ultimate bikini body? Put a bikini on your body. With her all-American beauty best friend Ellen by her side, things have always worked until Will takes a job at Harpy's, the local fast food joint. There she meets private school Beau, a hot former jock. Will isn't supposed to find herself attracted to Beau, but she is surprised when he seems to like her back. Instead of finding new heights of self-assurance in her relationship with Beau, Will starts to doubt herself, so she sets out to take back her confidence by doing the most horrifying thing she can imagine, entering the Miss Teen Blue Bonnet beauty pageant, along with several other unlikely candidates, to show the world that she deserves to be up there as much as any girl does. Along the way, she'll shock the hell out of Clover City, and maybe herself most of all. So, yeah, I think that will be fun. And I definitely need more plus size representations on my shelf. The next one, this is a book. Again, I saw the movie like forever ago. I don't really remember it. And I wasn't planning on picking up the book, but then I saw another book by this author, and this one was right next to it. I thought, why not? I remember enjoying the movie, but I don't really remember a whole lot about it. And so that is Water for Elephants by Sarah Gruen. There's not really a synopsis for this one. So yeah, I remember there's like a circus, and I want to say, Gruen unearths a lost world with her rich and surprising portrayal of life in a traveling circus in the 30s, an emotional tale that will please history buffs and others. So I remember Robert Pattinson. I think he plays like the caretaker for the elephant, and then you have Reese Witherspoon who plays like the circus act. And then they kind of end up falling in love, I believe. So, like that, I don't really remember, and there's no synopsis on this. So, um, yeah, yeah, it is, it's what it is. So, but I do remember, like I said, I think I like the movie. I think there's either like a little bit of an age gap or something with the romance that's kind of more taboo. So, but the one I was really interested by this author is Riding Lessons by Sarah Gruen again. This is romance and horses go hand in hand, an intriguing and courageous heroine and a great horse. And this sounds very emotional. She has another one called Flying Changes that I do want to pick up if I enjoy these two. So it says, as world-class equestrian and Olympic contender Anne-Marie Zimmer lived for the thrill of... As a world-class equestrian and Olympic contender, Anne-Marie Zimmer lived for the thrill of flight atop a strong, graceful animal. Then at 18, a tragic accident destroys her riding career and Harry, the beautiful horse she cherished. Now, 20 years later, Anne-Marie is coming home to her dying father's New Hampshire horse farm. Jobless and abandoned, she is bringing her troubled teenage daughter to this place of pain and memory, where ghosts of an unresolved youth still haunt the fields and stables, and where hope lives in the eyes of the handsome, gentle veterinarian Anne-Marie loved as a girl, and in the seductive allure of a trainer with a magic touch. But everything will change yet again when one glimpse of a white-striped gelding, startlingly similar to the one Anne-Marie lost in another lifetime, and an obsession is born that could shatter her fragile world. So, I love the color of this one, and again, just anything horses gets my attention. Next, we have one called A Night Divided by Jennifer A. Nilsson, and this has to deal with the Berlin Wall. So I'm very intrigued by that. I don't think I've ever read a story that revolves around the Berlin Wall. But it says, with the sudden rise of the Berlin Wall, 12-year-old Gerda finds her family divided overnight. She, her mother, and her brother Fritz lives on the eastern side, controlled by the Soviets. Her father and middle brother, who had gone west in search of work, are unable to return home. Gerda knows it's dangerous to watch a wall, to think forbidden thoughts of freedom, yet she can't help herself. She sees the East German soldiers with their guns trained on their own citizens, watching for any sign of escape. Gerda, her family, her neighbors, and friends are prisoners in their own city. But one day Gerda spots her father on a viewing platform on the western side of the wall, pantomiming a peculiar dance. She concludes that her father wants Gerda and Fritz to tunnel beneath the wall, out of East Berlin. However, if they're caught, the consequences will be deadly. No one can be trusted. Will Gerda and her family find their way to freedom? So, yeah, well, we shall see. So that one, so I'm very intrigued by that one. Then this one is Hattie Big Sky, and this is by Kirby Larson. And this one says, for most of her life, 16-year-old Hattie Brooks has been shuttled from one distant relative to another. Tired of being Hattie here and there, she summons the courage to leave Iowa and move all by herself to Vida, Montana, to prove up on her late uncle's homestead claim. At least now my letters will be more interesting, she writes to her good friend Charlie, who is fighting the Kaiser in France. Under the big sky, Hattie braves hard weather, hard times, and a cantankerous cow, and her own hopeless hand at the cook stove. Her quest to make a home is championed by new neighbors, Perley Mueller, her German husband, and their children. For the first time in her life, Hattie feels part of the family, finding the strength to stand up against Traff Martin's schemes to buy her out, and against increasing pressure to be a loyal American at a time when anything or anyone's German is suspect. Despite daily trials, Hattie continues to work her uncle's claim until an unforeseen tragedy causes her to search her soul for the real meaning of home. Lovingly stitched together from Kirby Larson's own family history and the sights, sounds, and sense of homesteading life, this young pioneer story celebrates the true spirit of independence. So, there is that one. Then this next one I think might have autism rep. It doesn't specifically say, but based on the synopsis, I'm pretty confident at least some type of neurodivergent, but I think autism. And this is The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon. There's a little dog cutout that kind of got bent. I mean, it's at a thrift store, so not surprising. But yeah, this one says, Christopher John Francis Boone knows all the countries of the world and their capitals, and every prime number up to 7,057. He relates well to animals, but has no understanding of human emotions. He cannot stand to be touched, and he detests the color yellow. The improbable story of Christopher's quest to investigate the suspicious death of a neighborhood dog makes for one of the most captivating, unusual, and widely heralded novels in recent years. So, yeah, sounds quirky and fun. So we shall see. Next, this is the third book in a series. It's like Christian romance, and typically in the past, I never really paid much attention to series orders in Christian romance. But I might go ahead and try to pick up the first two in the series. So this one is Elena's Song, and this is by Peggy Stokes. I'm not really sure how to pronounce that last name. And so yeah, it says after years of fame, love, and secret pain, Elena Breen finds herself on a dangerous precipice. With a singing voice damaged by misuse and a career cut short by the man who built her into a celebrity, Elena is haunted by her past and afraid to face her future. But Gyasi Golden, the one man who holds the key to Elena's heart, is determined to reignite the love that once bound them together. As Elena heals from her emotional and physical wounds, Gyasi discovers that there is more to this woman than he had ever imagined. Neither of them is prepared for the depth of pain and height of love they discover as they experience the vastness of God's abounding love. And so it's the Abounding Love series. And so yeah, we'll see. Like I said, I might pick up the other two. I might not. It just depends. This next one was surprising. When I saw the cover and everything, I did not expect what the synopsis said. And so this is The Sparrow by Mary Doria Russell. And so this one, it says, an experience not to be missed. If you have to send a group of people to a newly discovered planet to contact totally unknown species, whom would you choose? How about 4 Jesuit priests, a young astronomer, a physician, her engineer husband, and a child prostitute turned computer expert? That's who Mary Doria Russell sends in her new novel, The Sparrow. This motley combination of agnostics, true believers, and misfits becomes the first to explore the Alpha Centauri world of Ricki, with both enlightening and disastrous results. So, yeah, not what I was expecting, but I'm intrigued. And again, it's sci-fi, so it works to kind of build up those sci-fi options on my shelf, which is perfect. The next is a little romance. This is the first in a series, and this is Written in the Stars by Alexandria Bellafleur. So it looks like just a little contemporary romance with fake dating. So it says, after a disastrous blind date, Darcy Lowell is desperate to stop her well-meaning brother from playing matchmaker ever again, and it's sapphic. Love and the inevitable heartbreak is the last thing she wants, so she fibs and says her latest setup was a success. Darcy doesn't expect her lie to bite her in the ass. Elle Jones is one of the astrologers behind the popular Twitter account Oh My Stars. She dreams of finding her soulmate, but she knows it is most assuredly not Darcy, a no-nonsense stick-in-the-mud who is way too analytical, punctual, and skeptical for someone like Elle. When Darcy's brother and Elle's new business partner expresses how happy he is that she and Darcy hit it off, Elle is baffled. Was Darcy on the same date? Because awkward. Darcy begs Elle to play along, and she reluctantly agrees to pretend they're dating, but with few conditions. Darcy must help Elle navigate her own overbearing family during the holidays, and their arrangement expires on the New Year's Eve. The last thing they expect is to develop real feelings during a full relationship, but maybe opposites can attract when true love is written in the stars. So, it sounds fun. Then we have another author I've been interested in trying, but I wasn't even aware of this book. So this is The Storied Life of A.J. Fickery by Gabrielle Zevin. And it does sound interesting. So it says A.J. Fickery's life is not at all what he expected it to be. He lives alone. His bookstore has experienced the worst sales in its histories, and now his prized possession, a rare collection of Poe poems, has been stolen. But when a mysterious package appears at the bookstore, its unexpected arrival gives Fickery the chance to make his life over and see everything anew. So, yeah, give that author a try. This one is intriguing. So it's like a contemporary magical realism romance, but a middle grade. So this is courtesy of Cupid by Nashay Jones. And yeah, it's just, this is like a new release too. When did it, I was logging it in the catalog, and I saw that it was new. Yeah, it's 2024. So it just came out this year. But says Erin Johnson plans to spend her 13th birthday like any other regular birthday by 1, competing with Trevor Jin for the top spot in their class, typical for any day really, and 2, tolerating her mom's insistence on celebrating after school. Then her magical powers kick in. Turns out Erin's mysterious father is the love god Cupid, and she's inherited his knack for romance. Erin has no time for love, though. She only cares about being at the top of her class and getting elected president of the Multicultural Leadership Club. But when her win starts looking unlikely and she decides to make her number one opponent, Trevor, of course, fall in love with her to make him drop out of the race, love suddenly becomes a lot more interesting and complicated. So we'll see. It sounds cute. But I don't know about a middle grade contemporary romance with like magical realism. That seems a little weird to me. But we'll see. We'll see how it's done. Then we have Country Girl, City Girl by Lisa Jan Clow. Um, and this one, you have Phoebe Sharp had long red braids. She wore old beat up sneakers and clothes from Goodwill. She lived with her father and brother on a small farm in Maine, where she read fairy tales to her goats and snapped pictures with her Instamatic camera. Phoebe didn't have a single friend, never mind a boyfriend. That is, not until she meets Melita. Melita arrives at the Sharps farm in a see-through t-shirt and a strappy platform sandals that show off her drawn-on tattoo. With her caramel-colored skin, stylish clothes, and urban attitude, Melita seems as different from Phoebe as two teenage girls could be. Through the summer, the girls grow to know each other. As their friendship develops, confusing feelings also begin to emerge. Could their friendship be deepening into something more? In her debut novel, author Lisa Jan Clow eschews stereotypes, judgments, and easy answers to bring readers this sensitive and genuine portrayal of friendship and awakening. So it seems like it's like a coming of age story, which I enjoy. Next, this one I'm super excited about. This is Desert Places by Blake Crouch. It's a novel of terror. So again, never read anything by this author, but seeing them around and definitely an author I'm interested in. And so it's in one of the most chilling debuts of the year. Blake Crouch tells a tale that shatters the boundaries of fear. Caution, you've been warned. Read at your own risk. Andrew Z. Thomas is a successful writer of suspense thrillers, living the dream at his lake house in the Piedmont of North Carolina. One afternoon in late spring, he receives a bizarre letter that eventually threatens his career, his sanity, and the lives of everyone he loves. A murderer is designing his future, and for the life of him, Andrew can't get away. On an edge-of-your-seat thriller, Desert Places introduces the American public to a new suspense writer who will be scaring us all for years to come. And I like the little thing on the back because it says, "Greetings, there is a body buried on your property, covered in your blood. The unfortunate young lady's name is Rita Jones. In her jeans pocket, you'll find a slip of paper with a phone number on it. Call that number. I strongly advise against going to the police, as I'm always watching you. Dear reader, please keep the light on tonight. What happens next will scare you, guaranteed." So I think that is probably the letter he receives. I know, I'm really, really interested in it, and it is a series. So there's more. Then we have a bunch of children's books. So most of these I'm just collecting them, like they're old children's books. And so we have Sweet Valley High series by Francine Pascal. And this one is A Deadly Christmas. This is number 111. And so this was actually written by Kate William. And so in this one, is Jeremy the man of Jessica's dreams or her nightmares? Jessica Wakefield is in danger. Finally convinced that her fiance, Jeremy Randall, is nothing but a two-timing criminal, Jessica plots to get even. But when her devious plan goes wrong, Jessica is caught in her own trap, seconds away from a fiery death. Elizabeth Wakefield is scared for her twin sister, and she doesn't know whom to trust. Has Sue Gibbons really joined their side, or is it Sue and Jeremy against the twins? If Elizabeth's instincts are wrong, Jessica will go up in flames. So yeah, that sounds fun. Then we have two Nancy Drew books. I've been collecting these. I've only read one so far and really enjoyed it. So first we have the Nancy Drew Files Case 11, Heart of Danger. And in this one, an undercover assignment draws Nancy out west when Texas rancher Robert Rieger receives a ransom note demanding $500,000 for the return of his daughter, Katerina. The problem is, Katerina died in the plane crash 15 years ago. Or did she? With the note is evidence she survived. Posing as the ghostwriter of Rieger's autobiography, Nancy finds that kidnapping is just one of his problems. To begin with, someone is trying to poison him. Then a stray bullet convinces Nancy she's also in trouble. Now, if Nancy doesn't solve this case fast, she may lose more than her client. So, there's that one. And then we got case number 17, and this is Stay Tuned for Danger. And this one, it says, imagine a chance to work as extras on TV's top soap opera with America's heartthrob Rick Arlen. Bess is dazzled when she and Nancy are invited on the show by Rick's beautiful co-star Maddie Jensen. She's alarmed because the handsome actor has received some nasty threats from a slash photo to Dr. Chocolates. The teen detective soon uncovers a real-life drama backstage. There is a hot-headed director, a cast-off agent, and a few ex-girlfriends who all have reason to hate Rick, but only one of them wants him out of the way permanently. Nancy has to break this case fast before Rick breaks Bess's heart. So that's going to be fun. Then we have 2 Babysitter Club books. So first we have number 90, Welcome to the BSC, Abby. And these, of course, are by Anna and Martin. So in this one, as the newest member of the Babysitters Club, Abby Stevenson is going a million miles an hour. She has so many things to get used to: SMS, her friends in the BSC, and all those wild babysitting charges. Plus, Abby's worried her twin sister and mom aren't excited about living in Stony Brook. Abby thinks she has everything under control, but then she has an asthma attack while babysitting and must be rushed to the hospital. And now Christy is starting to have her doubts about Abby. Abby knows she's good enough for the Babysitters Club. Now all she has to do is prove it. So there's that one. And then the other one is a super mystery, and it's number 3. There's only 4 of these. And this one's Babysitter's Fright Night. And I didn't even know about this little spin-off. So on a school trip to study history in spooky Salem, Massachusetts, Christy, Abby, Mallory, Stacy, and Marianne find a mystery instead. A famous diamond, the witch's eye, is stolen from a local museum. The babysitters set out to investigate, but someone seems determined to stop them. Stacy's room is ransacked, Abby is followed, and then Christy disappears. Abby's sure the BSC is cursed, and all the babysitters agree. Whether or not the danger is supernatural is definitely real. Will they find Christy and the thief before it's too late? And there's that one. Then this next one's actually the second in a series, so I definitely need to pick up the first one. And this is Tiger Honor by Yoon Ha Lee, and the series is 1,000 Worlds. I was reading the synopsis for the first book in the series, and I think you might be able to read them independently, but that's, if I can have an excuse to get the first in the series, I will. Steven is a young tiger spirit from the Juwon clan who wants nothing more than to join the 1,000 Worlds Space Forces and, like their Uncle Han, captain a battlecruiser someday. But when Steven's acceptance letter finally arrives, it's accompanied by the shocking news that Han has been declared a traitor. Apparently, the captain abandoned his duty in order to steal a magical artifact, the Dragon Pearl, which is the title of the first one. So yeah, you probably have to read them in together. And his whereabouts are still unknown. Steven hopes to help clear their hero's name and restore honor to the clan. Nothing goes according to plan, however. As soon as Steven arrives for orientation, they are met by a special investigator named Yi and Yi's assistant and girl named Min. Yi informs Steven that they must immediately report to the ship Hate and wait for further instructions. Steven finds this highly unusual, but soon all protocol is forgotten when there's an explosion on the ship. The crew is knocked out and the communication system goes down. It's up to Steven, 3 other cadets, and Yi and Min to determine who is sabotaging the battlecruiser. When Steven is suddenly accused of collaborating with the enemy, the cadet realizes that the most dangerous foe of all is Min. So, that one I'll definitely have to get the first in the series. And then lastly, this one is Women in Science, the 50 Fearless Pioneers Who Changed the World, written and illustrated by Rachel Ignatowski. Hopefully I didn't butcher that too badly. And this one is all about different women in science, and there's lots of beautiful illustrations that I'm excited about. So it's a scientific fact: women rock. A charmingly illustrated educational book, Women in Science highlights the contributions of 50 notable women in the fields of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, STEM. From the ancient to the modern world, full of striking singular art, this fascinating collection also contains infographics about relevant topics such as lab equipment, rates of women currently working in STEM fields, and an illustrated scientific glossary. Trailblazing women profiles include well-known figures like primatologist Jane Goodall, as well as lesser-known pioneers such as Katherine Johnson, the African-American physicist and mathematician who calculated the trajectory of the 1969 Apollo 11 mission to the moon. Women in Science celebrates the achievement of the intrepid women who have paved the way for the next generation of female engineers, biologists, mathematicians, doctors, astronauts, physicists, and more. So, yeah, I'm excited about this. When was it published? I wonder. Let's see. It doesn't say. It doesn't say in here. But still, really, really excited about that find. So that's a good one to have on my TBR and in my collection. So that is all the books. I know this video was long as always, so if you stuck around, thank you so much. I personally like longer videos. I like to be able to put on a video and do something else. The shorter videos, it kind of makes it hard to do that because I don't like the autoplay option. So yeah, let me know if you've read any of these books, if you're interested in any of these books, or what your best thrift store find has been, or something you picked up recently. I would love to know that in the comments down below. If you don't know what to say or just want to let me know you were here, you can always leave a rabbit or any type of animal emoji down in the comments below, and I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys here. Happy reading, everyone. Bye.